Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
All right, happy Monday, everyone. We've made it to the start of another week. Yep, there we go.
Just the start.
Just the start.
Yeah.
There we go. We have a really good show for you today. We have a wedding planner that is going to be talking all things weddings since it's engagement season. And then Elise has basically everything else covered today. And good highlights in sports tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So the Wheatland final was over the weekend, so we've got all the highlights for that show, that game. And then also we have Rustlers basketball action as well. So lots of good stuff going on today.
All right. Well, as we pick our case of the Mondays, we're going to toss it over to Brittany, who's at a haunted house just in time for Halloween.
This evening, we're going to be giving you a sneak peek of the Wainwright Haunted House. We've got some volunteers who have been working very hard to get this up and running again for the 13th year here in Wainwright. So if you are looking to come down, doors do open at about 7 p.m. tonight and will run all the way till October 31st. I've been promised a bit of a frightening experience, so take the journey with me and stay tuned for more later on in the show. Right now, though, we're going to head back over to the studio and check in with them to find out what's going on.
Thank you, Brittany. The local arm of the Canadian Union of Postal Workers were on the picket lines downtown today in search of fair treatment. Motorists honked in solidarity, and some brought them coffee and donuts as they picketed outside the post office. The union has been rotating strikes across Canada, and local postal workers only found out they'd be out late last night.
For the last decade or two, we've been taking cutbacks, and the company's been making money, so it's time for us to settle the scales and get some cash back.
Barron, who's carried letters for 10 years, says Canada Post cuts have affected disability, 6 days wages for new employees, and wages for rural and suburban mail carriers. They'll return to work tomorrow, but the union will continue rotating strikes until a deal is reached. And art is the soul of a city, so it's bittersweet that an arts center is closing up here in the city's core. Gerard Lampow tells us about the collective closing.
When we close here at the Collective Art Market, the artists that do teach classes are going to lose this space. So many of them will be looking for other venues that they'll be able to teach workshops and classes.
The Collective Art Market has been a part of downtown for nearly 3 years. Some 80 artists have shown and sold their work in this space. Come December 20th, the art studio will be shutting its doors.
It's not a sad thing. We decided that we are at a point where we need to either grow or close, and we don't have the resources or the manpower to grow. Our artists need a place to show and sell. We need to serve more than 30 artists at a time.
The arts community contributes to the spirit of downtown by way of several murals, and as downtown pushes for rejuvenation, the summer has been stymied by construction that has dragged into the fall. The arts lover is remaining positive.
On the other hand, once the roads are repaired, I think it will improve the area. But during this growing phase, when the construction is happening, so many are mom and pop small stores that they haven't been able to handle the lack of foot traffic.
Another aspect of the business that's about to be lost is the first thing you see as you enter.
We set up a table at the big front of the store that represents our artists, multiple artists in store, and we change it seasonally and for special events to give gift ideas and a sampling of what's in the store.
The economics of finding a bigger space was not an option for the Collective Art team. A yearly artists' retreat is on the drawing board, but the sentiment is that art needs to be part of the picture downtown.
We definitely would want an arts center downtown somewhere that would involve the things I spoke about before. You know, a hanging gallery space, a gift shop space, some studio space, definitely workshop space.
Lawrence Flowen has some good reasons to keep art open downtown.
If they can fit that in somewhere in the downtown, it will bring tourism, it will bring community.
Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
A local woman has started a clothing drive and is sending everything to smaller communities in the north. Danielle Vachon is looking to help the community of Ulahaktak in the territories stay warm during the winter, and First Air will be flying in a few hundred pounds of clothing to delivering them to schools.
I think we forget a lot about our northern communities, and sometimes we think about outside of Canada, what's lacking, and just kind of looking at our neighbors and seeing what we can help with. That's so easy, just as much as clothing can make a huge difference.
Clothing in good condition, such as warm jackets and boots, are recommended, and clothes can be donated at ATB or Coldwell Banker. And well, it was a bye week for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't uneventful for one rider. Our Brett Holden has the story.
Many people have a dream car, and for Saskatchewan Roughrider Jorgen Hughes, his dream car is a 1968 Dodge Charger. And on Monday, he picked up his ride right here in the border city.
Oh, this is, I mean, I'm just speechless right now. It's this has been my dream car ever since I was a little kid, and I had posters in my room growing up, and always been the car I've wanted, and finally these guys here at Paradise Garage made it happen.
After purchasing the car a year ago, Hugh spent months trying to find the right place to restore the car, and he says it was after one thing that owner Miles Schiller said that helped Jorgen know he was in the right place.
And my good friend Braxton works at Investors Group. He's done some work with Miles here, so he put me in contact with Miles, and we both came out, and Braxton's actually with me here today again. It only seemed right, so he came here, and I came in their garage and their showroom, and Miles made me take my shoes off to come inside this room, and immediately I was like, okay, yeah, this is the guy I want working on my car.
The car also came with a special surprise for Hughes that he did not anticipate.
You actually look at the sub, your number's on the sub there.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, get out of here.
Well, one of the things that we like to do is when we finish off a complete build for somebody, we want to add that special touch, right? And for Jorgen, that special touch was the Rough Rider helmet, obviously, with his number in.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's just, I'm in awe. I'm just speechless right now. It's cool. Was not expecting it, and what a cool surprise that was.
And Jorgen doesn't seem too keen on the idea of letting any of his teammates drive the car either.
I live with the kickers. I know Bartel, the Australian, will not be driving it because he'll probably take it on the wrong side of the road. Brett Lowther, maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
Brett Holden, Primetime Local News.
And now we're going to toss it back over to Brittany, who's at the haunted house.
Guy Champagny joins me now, and he's one of the volunteers here at the Wainwright Haunted House. 13 years. You've been around since the beginning of the haunted house.
Yes, I have.
That's impressive. So now, when did you get open and running for this season?
We opened on the 27th, Saturday night, and we'll be running until Wednesday night.
So, and how many people are we going to expect to get through here?
I believe the first night was over 300 people came through, so we expect about 300 to 350 every night.
So now, what does somebody need to bring with them for their admission to the haunted house?
A food donation or a cash donation is what we expect.
So we'd like you to bring those donations for the food bank, and this year all of the cash donations are going to Jumpstart.
Yeah, that's right, Jumpstart. Yeah.
Now, what ages are going to be appropriate to go through this haunted house? I'm going to get to take a look, and I'm a little bit frightened already.
That's really hard to say. If your child is pretty skittish, then I would say don't bring them. But if you have a 10-year-old that likes to watch scary movies and stuff, yeah, he could probably handle it. But usually we say about 14, 15 is what that's what comes through here.
Perfect. Well, we're going to have more from the haunted house coming up later on in the show, including I'm going to take a sneak peek inside. Guy's going to take me through. I'm hoping I don't get too scared. But right now, we're going to head back over to the studio and check in with them to find out what's going on.
I think it would make for good TV if she got really scared, so we'll stay tuned with that. 30 degrees here in the border city currently. We did reach a daytime high of 4 degrees, so we have dropped down already. Mostly cloudy today. Definitely hasn't been as nice as we were seeing in the last couple of weeks. Looking to our satellite radar, we definitely have some activity from the last few hours. Here's the patches of precipitation that could be coming into the Lloydminster area around midnight into the overnight area, which could mean some freezing rain overnight and then into tomorrow morning's commute. No watches and warnings in effect for our immediate area, but as you can see up here, all the areas in purple, mostly up to the east and north here, are under a snowfall warning, but nothing affecting our area as of right now. As we look across the map to the numbers, currently sitting at 4 degrees in North Battleford, 3 degrees here, 3 in Meadow Lake, 3 also in Cold Lake, Athabasca, also sitting at 4 degrees. A little bit warmer as we move down south, so 8 degrees in Rocky Mountain House, 7 in Jasper, and 8 degrees in Edmonton. And then as we look to the broadcast area, North Battleford currently sitting at 4 degrees, and that's cloud cover, much like we saw here, overcast, and that is going to continue into tomorrow. So overnight, going to drop down to 1 degree, also a chance of some precipitation overnight, and then tomorrow a high of 6 degrees. Cold Lake sitting at 3 degrees right now, overnight going into the minuses, so -1, and then a high of only 5 degrees tomorrow with cloud cover. And Lloydminster, like I said, sitting at 3 degrees, -1 overnight, and then 5 degrees tomorrow. But we could be seeing that precipitation hit tonight into the overnight and then continuing into tomorrow and Tuesday. We do have a chance of seeing those flurries in and out throughout the day, but the clouds should start to move out for Wednesday. We're going to see the sunshine come back out for Halloween. 7 degrees for the high there, -3 for the low, and then Thursday cloud cover is going to come back in. We have a 40% chance we could see some flurries then as well. 3 degrees for the high there and -1 for the low. I'll have more details, including a look at your 7-day forecast, coming up a little bit later.
Well, the United Way has always been a big part of the community, and in this week's retrospect, I take a look at some of the changes that have been made in the organization.
The annual pancake breakfast marked the beginning of fundraising for the local United Way. This year's goal is $135,000, $10,000 more than last year. A number of agencies benefit from the organization.
We have different agencies here in Lloydminster that we support. There's 16 of them, and our member agencies run different programs within the city, and all of your contributions to the United Way do stay within the Lloydminster area.
Local charity receives lots of support.
It's always a lot of fun. We actually can come out and see a lot of people who are early risers ready to have a hearty breakfast and help out the United Way as part of their kickoff. So it's wonderful to see the community support for this event.
Each United Way works locally to raise funds and invest in improving lives in its community. Due to the economy turned down over the years, they have changed their approach.
We went from having multiple organizations under us to only picking 4 main ones. So we had people come in from these organizations and do presentations for us.
Even though the changes have been made to how many companies are under the umbrella, there are still some familiar faces at United Way, and the fundraising is paying off.
Over the years, one of the really good changes that people may not be aware of is we have member agencies that we've worked with for lots and lots of years, and it's sort of like your child grows up and moves out on their own when they don't need you anymore. That's really good.
The organization is looking forward to the many events happening throughout the year, including one coming up during the holidays.
We have launching right away our holiday 50-50. So everybody can get a ticket and get in just before Christmas. Our final day will be at the Parade of Lights social at the exhibition grounds.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
Now we're going to take a look at your stock market prices for today. Welcome back. Well, we had them from when they were pups, and we love them, and it's hard to admit when they're getting older. Gerard Lampow meets a mature pet who's getting ready for another winter.
I'm looking for fleas.
Meet Murphy. He's a 10-year-old golden retriever. His owner, Dr. Corin Berg, admits he has slowed down compared to 5 years ago, but the biggest thing is he has put on a few more pounds.
So weight control and weight management is a big part of what we strive to do with dogs like Murphy. The other thing is to look at diets that potentially contain supplements that can be good for joint health. And there are a number of really good diets on the market that can help these guys access some of those products to keep their joints healthy.
Berg has switched to treating smaller animals in the last few years. He says sometimes so much attention is paid to the livestock that older cats and dogs on the farm may get left out.
Going into winter, one of the real common things that a lot of owners will tell us is, boy, they really slowed down this past winter. They're not as active as they were, especially for some of these working dogs that are actually out helping herd cattle.
Berg says arthritis in these older pets is a big issue. Also, the cold will affect an acreage pet even more as we get into winter when compared to a city pet.
Farm cats are very important as a method of rodent control, so they need to be able to move, and older cats, like older dogs, will exhibit signs of arthritis. It's just cats are much more, they won't show as many overt signs as dogs will. They will hide those problems a lot more than a dog.
The tick season is almost at an end, but joints and teeth still need to be checked. Fleas could also overwinter on pets, so an external parasite control is recommended. Internal parasite control or a fall deworming is also critical. Vaccines, especially rabies, need to be up to date for the acreage pet, as they are also exposed to wildlife. But the hardest question is admitting when the quality of life has been compromised.
We have this discussion with owners almost every week that, if it's just something that a dog is a little bit uncomfortable, or there's things that we can do to alleviate some of the discomfort that's associated with getting older, we're all for doing the things that we can to just ease their pain, keep them comfortable, but inevitably, the time will come.
Diet, exercise, and a yearly exam, especially for Murphy, remain the best recourse. Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
That's it for egg. We're going to have sports coming up next, but first we're going to take a look at your egg prices.
Every member of the City Centre Auto Body team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
Well, the last time the Border Cities football Titans met on the field, it was a surprisingly one-sided affair. But Friday night's Wheatland title game was a different story. However, it was still Barons fans that left celebrating after the final whistle.
It took nearly a decade, but the Lloyd Comp Barons are finally champions again, defeating the Holy Rosary Raiders 17-7 to win their first league title since 2010.
So we've played in this game, I think this will be our fourth time in the last 5 years, or fifth time in the last 6 years. And we've been close a couple times, but our guys battled like they've been doing all year long, so I'm super proud of them.
Any given Friday, it can go either way, so I'm proud of our kids, and congratulations to the Barons. They played a really good game.
The Raiders held a 7-0 lead deep into the third quarter, where the Barons offense finally turned the game's momentum.
It wasn't anything that we did as coaches. The guys just played better, they executed, and they played really hard.
Now playing from behind, the Raiders tried desperately to move the ball downfield, but incompletions and penalties continued to haunt them.
Takes away momentum, and I guess we got to get better. We just have to get better. We can't take penalties like that.
The loss ends 4 straight years of Wheatland titles for Holy Rosary and makes for a tough bounce back this weekend against Father McCruddy from Fort McMurray.
It's always tough losing a game like this. It's emotional. The kids are, especially the grade 12 kids, it's tough to keep them in check. But you know what? We won't dwell on it long. You have to have a short memory, and we'll get back to work.
And the win means the Barons, who host another Fort Mac school in Holy Trinity, go into provincial qualifying undefeated and satisfied with finally ending the year on a high against their rival.
They're big and strong and fast, and they're well coached, and it's a good program, and they're perennially, every single year, they bring a good football team over here. So when you beat them twice in a season, it's a pretty big accomplishment.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local Sports.
And after losing 4-0 on Saturday to the Whitecourt Wolverines, the Lloydminster Bobcats responded with a solid effort the following evening, defeating the Okotoks Oilers 3-1. The win comes as a relief for the Cats, snapping a 4-game losing streak at home.
We've been in a little bit of a slump, and it's just good that everybody stuck to the game plan and everybody pitched in tonight, and it feels great.
The team now hits the road for a pair of South Division games on the weekend in Drumheller and Camrose. And now we're going to toss it back to Brittany, who's at the Haunted House in Wainwright.
Guy joins me again, and he's now taken me into the clown room. I don't have a fear of clowns, but I think this room could make a lot of people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, for some reason, clowns scare people really bad. We've noticed for the last 5 years that more and more people are telling us no more clowns, no more clowns. So of course we keep adding clowns. Yeah.
So now the haunted house is broken up into a few different rooms that people come in, and this one is all themed clowns. There's a lot of work, a lot of different props. Now, where did you get a lot of this stuff that's put into this haunted house?
There's quite a few stuff that's donated, but most of the animatronics we have bought. With the donations that we get at the door, we always spend a little bit of money every year to buy new animatronics, because if you don't, then it gets stale in here, and we try to keep it different every year.
So it keeps you getting more scared each and every year. Now, this is all entirely volunteer run for this haunted house.
Yes, it is. Everyone in here is a volunteer.
So now how large of a group of volunteers are you working with this year?
There's probably up to 15 people this year.
And this isn't something that you could just start it on the other day. You've been working on this for over a month.
Yes. Usually we get in here, mid-September, sometimes earlier, and it takes us a month and a half to finish this. We got finished just in time to open.
So opened on Saturday night and is going to run all the way through until Halloween. And let's just remind people at home what your operating hours are if they are looking out to come and get a little scared.
We're open from 7 till 9. If you have kids that want to go through with the lights on, then show up around 6:30, between 6 and 7, and we'll escort people through with the lights on and no actors in place. But at 7, it's no holds barred. We go for it, yeah.
Well, thanks so much for sharing that information with us. And we're going to have more coming up later on in the show as well. We're going to be taking you into another room in the haunted house. If these clowns haven't scared you enough yet, just you wait. Stay tuned for that out here in Wainwright. But right now, we're going to head back over to the studio and check in with them.
All right, thank you, Brittany. Starting it off with this gorgeous fall shot. Look at the colors there. A couple leaves still on the red side. That was sent to us by Tyler today, so thank you so much for sending that in. Looking to the map at our current temperature, sitting at 3 degrees here in the border city. A little bit warmer as we move into Vermilion. 4 degrees there, 3 in Vegreville. Still sitting at 7 degrees in Edmonton. 3 degrees for Wainwright. 6, just turned down there. 3 degrees for Provost. 3 degrees for St. Paul. 2 for Bonnyville, and 3 in Cold Lake. Maidstone sitting at 4 degrees. North Battleford also at 4 degrees. As we move up the map, 1 degree in La Loche, 1 degree in Buffalo Narrows, 0 for La Ronge. And then over on the Alberta side, 4 degrees for Peace River. A little bit warmer in Grand Prairie, sitting at 8 degrees still, and then 0 in Fort McMurray. And as we look southward, it's typically much warmer. 7 degrees for Lethbridge, 6 for Medicine Hat, 10 degrees still in Calgary, and then 1 degree in Coronation. And then a little bit cooler over here, but still not too bad. 6 degrees in Swift Current and 6 degrees in Moose Jaw. As we look to our numbers tomorrow, 5 degrees here in the border city, so a day like we saw today. 5 for Vermilion, 9 degrees for Vegreville, 10 degrees for Edmonton, and then over on the Sask side, 6 degrees in North Battleford, 7 for Macklin, and 5 degrees for St. Walburg. For the kids catching the school bus tomorrow, going to be 0 degrees and overcast. We do have a chance of seeing some flurry activity overnight, around midnight, into the overnight, and then continuing into the morning, so we could see some freezing rain. By recess time, going to be dried up though, 1 degree and cloudy, 2 degrees over the lunch hour, and then 5 degrees by the time we head home, which is our daytime high. So we could see that chance of precipitation into the morning, overnight tonight, and that does mean some freezing rain. So do be cautious on your morning commute. Wednesday, the sun is going to start to come out around the noon hour. We are going to see the clouds in the morning, but 7 degrees there for Halloween, which is a great great number, and no snow on the ground. Thursday, 3 degrees, -1 for the low. Friday, 52% chance precipitation. We could see some flurries, which are going to continue possibly into Saturday. 55% chance there, 1 degree only for the high. Sunday, still cloudy, 3 degrees, but the sun will come out next Monday, but only a daytime high of 0 degrees. So we are back into those fall numbers, unfortunately.
And now we're going to head back to Brittany, who is at the haunted house at Wainwright.
Guy has now lured me into what many people would call those creepy crawlies that are lurking in your corners. This is the spider room, and I think this also makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
I would imagine, first of all, you have to crawl through the tunnel to get in here, and then there's the spiders, like from small, that's a small one, to huge. So, yeah.
And that big one's name is Bob.
Bob, yeah, they named him this year.
Wow, he is frightening. And there's also, they have a few different live actors that are in this room when you're coming through, as well as there's a few creepy crawlies that actually are motion censored, or there's pads in the floor that will jump out at you. And I will admit, I even got frightened by them. Is this
That's the point.
That's true. Now, is this a room that a lot of people get scared of?
I would imagine. Yeah, this, because it's so small and there's so much in it, I would imagine that they get freaked out pretty good coming through here. Yeah.
So now, do you yourself have a passion for haunted houses and the scary?
I do. It started 12 years ago. It's fun. I started off as an actor out here, and it's so much fun to scare people. It's incredible. You get a high from it. It's a lot of fun.
I would imagine people would get that same adrenaline rush coming through the haunted house.
Yeah, you hear them scream, but they're laughing in between every scream. So I believe they really enjoy it. Yeah.
So we said there is a little bit of a lineup because they only let certain number of people go through at a time. So come down a little bit early if you do want to do the haunted house with the lights on with some smaller children. Come down around 6:30. Otherwise, it will be operating from 7 to 9 with a food bank donation or cash donation going to jumpstart this year.
Yes.
So we're hoping to get tons of people out. You said about 300 a night?
Yes, that's what we usually get, is around 300 a night. But we'll accommodate many, many more if they show up.
All right, so come down and get your scare on. I know I've been frightened going through this haunted house thus far, but unfortunately we're out of time and we're going to have to head back over to the studio and check in with them to find out what's going on.
All right, well, today's question of the day, we wanted to know, what do the majority of people like that you dislike? For Elise, you're saying it's something that's just very popular around this time of year.
Yeah, it's the seasonal thing of pumpkin spice flavored everything. I don't get it. I don't know. Like, I don't mind it, but people who go over the top about it, I don't know. It's
they live for pumpkin spice season. I'm not a big fan either, but there was a cheese sampling the other day at a grocery store here in town, and it was pumpkin spice cheese. And I tasted it because I'm going to eat the free sample. It was disgusting.
Yeah, that's weird.
Would not recommend pumpkin spice cheese. I just want to read a few of the comments that we got on social media. Aaron says Fortnite, which is very popular.
Yeah.
And then we have a few, actually Jensel says she also hates pumpkin spice.
Oh,
and
there you
then
go.
Tara says peanut butter. Now, I couldn't survive without peanut butter. I love peanut butter.
Me too.
Yeah. Kurt, we were chatting with him earlier. Kurt Price from Real Country says, Friends and eggs. Doesn't like eggs.
Yeah. Friends the show, obviously.
Friends the show, yes, not having friends. We do ask a question every day, so make sure you head on to our Facebook page or Twitter and tell us your answers there. But right now, it was National Cat Day, so we asked you to send in your best cat photos, and here are the 5 that made it into our pet of the day today. Super adorable. This is Tiggs up on his 2 feet. That was sent to us by Jolie. And next up, we have Tony. Tony likes to drink on a Monday. That's fine, Tony. Krista sent us that photo of Tony. Next up, we have Molly. Now, Corinna says Molly really likes ice cream.
Yeah,
Molly,
she's just living her best life
living her best life. She's super adorable there. Very flattering photo, I like to say.
Yep.
And Vinny with the tongue out here, that was sent to us by Taylor. And then last but certainly not least, this adorable witch photo of Belle, and that was sent to us by Kayla.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
The Wainwright Haunted House is open now until October 31st if you are looking to come out and get a little bit of a scare. If you are looking to bring your kids out with the lights on to go through it if they are quite small, you can come out around 6:30. Otherwise, from 7 to 9 is when it will be in full force action. Lots of different things move around, so just be prepared when you come out and bring a donation for the food bank or a cash donation for Jump Start. You never know what's going to be making a move around in the haunted house. This creature behind me, sometimes even like she's taking a few jumps. Oh, there she goes again.
All right, that haunted house looks like a lot of fun, and it's going to be decent weather, at least leading up to Halloween. So tomorrow, 5 degrees for our high. We do have a chance of precipitation, some flurries starting into the overnight and continuing into tomorrow, which could mean some freezing rain, unfortunately. So do be cautious overnight into the morning for your morning commute. 5 degrees tomorrow. Wednesday, 7 for Halloween. Cooling down on Thursday, 3 degrees there. Friday, we could see some more flurry action, 1 degree there. Also on Saturday, 1 degree. And then at Sunday, high of 3 degrees, -5 for the low, but then the sun will come back out on Monday for a high of 0 degrees. So we are unfortunately back into those seasonal numbers and even below them. But can't complain because we had a really good couple of weeks above the
Yeah, we had a
averages.
good run.
Yeah,
it was good.
We had a good run until next year. We just want to say before we end off today's show, tomorrow we have a really, really special show for you. We have 3 of the RCMP members coming to anchor.
Yeah,
so
they're going to take our jobs.
Yeah, they're taking our jobs. They're going to do weather. They're going to host. They're going to do social media. So definitely tune in tomorrow to see how well
It'll be very
do.
good. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I wonder if they'll know how to work the prompter.
Yeah. I'm kind of scared they're going to be way better, and then
could you imagine?
Our
and
boss
then
is
we
going to
just
be like,
don't
well,
have jobs.
yeah,
she's going to be like, so sorry, but
Yeah.
the RCMP now have your job.
Yeah.
So anyways, make sure you tune in tomorrow for our very special show. We'll see you then. Take care.